cake culture has a huge place in my heart and gut. We convince ourselves once a year for the rest of our lives to indulge in a piece of cake and to stick candles in it, also known as our birthdays. However, for some ladies, I know it's a monthly ritual. Desserts are seen as an indulgence, a reward, or sometimes taken away as a punishment. People come together to have tea and cake and to connect. And in some senses, the whole cake culture spreads joy. If you don't know what I mean, place a nice, delicious piece of cake in front of a child and just watch their face light up. Hi, my name is Cheelin, and my love story with cake ended in complete heartbreak when I baked my first batch of brownies in my grandmother's house. The inexperienced sugar enthusiast followed a recipe extracted from the internet. But alas, when the brownie came out of the oven, it was rock hard to the point where it wouldn't even change form even when I sat on it. I had to throw the inedible brownie in the bin along with my confidence and enthusiasm, and I told myself I would never bake again. However, the interest never left me, and I continued baking through university. After finishing my psychology and business degree, I didn't know what to do with myself. I knew I didn't want a traditional office job. And around that time, I had heard my grandmother speaking to my mother, and she said, people have to find something that they're passionate about in life and live it. For example, Cheelin likes baking cake, so she should go to France to learn how to make it. Oh, Grandma, you couldn't have been any more right. I enrolled myself in the Cordon Bleu Paris, and in 2012, I made my way to Europe. It will always be the most meaningful but scariest trip of my life. It was like going on a first date with a man that I dreamt of marrying since I was a little girl. It was like going on a date with Mr. Right while wondering, what happens if he's Mr. Wrong? Having moved to a country I had never been to in my life, not knowing a single person there, and not speaking the language terrified me but fueled me at the same time. I was completely independent, which was something that I had strived for my entire life. For the first time in 26 years, whenever I came home, no one was there waiting for my arrival. Not Grandma, not Grandpa, not Mom, nor Dad. The level of autonomy empowered me, and going to France was not all about making cakes, but it was also about nurturing my journey of growth while eating the best pastries in the world. Being in the classes made me feel like all the sacrifices and fear were worth it. The level of confidence I knew that I could go through one of the toughest and toughest culinary schools in the world was so strong and unshakable. There were so many people who had left their office job to pursue pastry but wondered if it was the right thing to do. But for me, if it's worth it, even though you're not always the best in class, even though your cakes don't always turn out, and even though you have a French chef yelling at you in a language you don't understand, and you're not sure if he's cursing you or going to fail you for that unit, then yes, your passion is very much alive and should be lived viciously. Returning back to Brunei, I was so excited to fatten up the people of Brunei. However, I didn't receive the, oh my God, this is so good, even though I had followed all the recipes meticulously. I felt an overwhelming sense of self-doubt because I had realized that suddenly my passion was conditional, that if I didn't receive compliments, then suddenly I didn't enjoy the process. But wait a minute, I did enjoy making that cake right until I received the, yeah, it's okay, I guess. I reviewed whether cake making was truly a passion to me or just an interest, and then I realized sometimes the journey isn't always clear nor easy. By this point, my mother was soon to open Simply Chris, the place I would have to call work. I managed to tweak some recipes to suit the humidity and the difference of ingredients here in Brunei, and I had also learned to never attempt specific recipes to avoid some major ego-crushing moments. For example, this melted cake right before you. I don't really know what it is about making cakes that draws me in, but it's about the separate ingredients, eggs, butter, sugar, and flour, which all taste pretty nasty in the natural form, but they can be combined and processed into a piece of heaven. Sometimes I like to think that I make magic in the kitchen. I just come from this instant gratification generation where dirty dishes are instantly washed in a dishwasher, where food is instantly delivered to my door. The point is, what used to be separate can be coaxed into a morsel of deliciousness, where inedible ingredients can be manipulated to become one delicious chocolate cake with a perfect dark chocolate icing. For me, the ideas of flavors are inspired by culture, travel, and Pinterest. I consider myself having a creative mind of a 2-year-old, but thankfully the world of pastry has some defined structure. For example, for a typical cake, you beat the butter and sugar till light and fluffy, add eggs separately, beat until well incorporated, and sift the flour in 2 parts. However, sometimes basic can be boring. So you can mix it up with different flavors and textures like chopped nuts or raisins or desiccated coconut. How about fruit or fetine? The part where cake making helps me is in the perfect balance of flexibility and structure. I could also help you see the creative process of cake in a different light. You can think of it as fashion. For example, you have your main outfit, t-shirt and jeans, right? That's your cake. And then you choose a pair of shoes or a scarf. And that's your cake filling and your topping. And before you leave the house, you put your makeup on. And that's your cake garnishing and decoration. But cake just isn't fashionable to me. It's also the perfect solution for me when I just want to stay at home and I just want to beat the butter and sugar to light and fluffy, add eggs separately, beat until well incorporated, and you sift the flour in 2 parts. Desserts are not to be taken lightly. They are often the first thing people search for while reading a menu and the last taste they have when they leave a restaurant. And it humbles me to the core when what I do make people truly happy through their tummies. We set up Simply Chris to harbor the love for the journey of food. And the journey has not always been obvious nor smooth, but it's also a place where not only our culinary journey was established, but where if happiness was the only currency in the world, this is exactly what we would be doing. And for those of you who don't know, Chris is actually my mother, Simply Chris. Yeah, so it's a family-run business. Me and my sister and my mom run it together, so yeah, we have lots of fun doing it. Thank you.